Hello friends, welcome to my channel Debug Will, and in this tutorial we are going to learn how to calculate execution time for a code snippet. And let's quickly flip to Visual Studio. So this is a small console application, and if you want to calculate the execution time for this loop, so in .NET we have StopWatch, which is in System.Diagnostics namespace. So in this line we are starting an instance of stopwatch and starting the watch itself. So when you use start new, it initializes the instance of stopwatch and also starts the watch. So then we have this loop, and here we are stopping the watch, and then if you want to know the current time, we're going to use watch.elapsed milliseconds. So this elapsed milliseconds tell you the current counter where the watch is. Let's quickly run this application and see how the output looks like. So there you go, the loop 1 execution time is 5 milliseconds. So this loop ran for 5 milliseconds. This is a simple scenario. Let's take another scenario. I've already written the code for one scenario. I'll just copy paste it so we can save some time. Alright, let's see what's happening in this code. So in this we want to calculate the total execution time for different code snippet together. Let's see what this means. So again we have a System.Diagnostics since we are using stopwatch, and here we created an instance of the stopwatch as well as started the watch, and then we calculated the time that is taken by this loop, and then here we are printing the elapsed time. Okay, and then we stop the watch. But now suppose we don't want to calculate the time of proceeding line code snippet, but again we want to calculate some other code snippet time, okay, without resetting the clock. So let's see how we can do that. So here our watch is in pause mode, so it will not add up for this execution time because it is in stop mode. And then we have a function called isRunning, which tells us whether the watch is running or not. Since the watch is in a stop phase, watch.isRunning, this method gonna return us false, but we have a false in the start, so this entire method gonna return us true, and then we're gonna start the watch again. Now if we hover over the start, it says it resumes the watch true. So since our watch was in a pause phase, it resumes the watch rather than creating a new instance. If this loop took 4 milliseconds, the watch will start here after 4 milliseconds. It will not reset to 0. So now we continue calculating the time for this loop, and then we stop the watch, and then we say loop 1 and loop 3 execution time together, excluding loop 2. Yeah, so loop 1 and loop 3 execution time means loop 1 and loop 3 execution time excluding the loop 2 execution time is watch.elapsed millisecond. Let's quickly run this application and see how the output looks like. Alright, so the execution time for loop 1 is 6 milliseconds, and the execution time for loop 3 will be 6 milliseconds, and that's why we have 12 milliseconds. Why? Because this took 6 milliseconds and even this took 6 milliseconds. So the total elapsed time for loop 1 and loop 3 is 12 milliseconds. Alright, let's see another scenario, the last one. Again, I have already written the code snippet to speed things up. Alright, let's see what's happening here. So in this we want to calculate the execution time for different code snippet, but we want to reset the clock this time. We don't want to use the same counter. So if our clock is already calculated time for this loop to 4 milliseconds, we want to reset it to 0 and measure the time again for some different code snippet. Let's see. So again we are creating a new instance, then we have loop 1. Here we are printing the execution time for loop 1, stopping the watch, and again this entire since the watch is in stop phase, again this will return as false, but we have false in front, so this whole thing gonna return true. And if it is true, we are restarting the watch. So in this case, we are not resuming the watch, rather we are resetting the counter back to 0. So now this execution time will start from 0 milliseconds, and this will only include the execution time for loop 2. Okay, let's quickly run this application. Awesome. So you can see the loop 1 execution time is 6 milliseconds, whereas loop 2 execution time is 3 milliseconds, right? After 6 milliseconds, our watch got reset, and again the watch ran for 3 milliseconds for loop 2. So that's it. Let's recap what we covered in this tutorial. So if you want to calculate the execution time for a code snippet, it's in System.Diagnostics namespace. You need to use StopWatch. So firstly, with StopWatch.start new, you basically instantiate the stopwatch as well as start it, and then you write your code snippet, and with watch.stop you stop the watch, and with watch.elapsed milliseconds tells you the current time that watch shows. Alright, another scenario. Calculate the execution time for multiple code snippet. So when you have multiple code snippet, you want to check, is the watch running? If it is not running, you want to start the watch again. Now this start will not reset the counter, it will start it from where it left. Then we have calculate the execution time for multiple code snippet by resetting the watch counter. In this, again we'll check if the watch is running. If it's not running, then we restart the watch. So in restart, the counter will go back to 0. That's it for today, guys. I hope you like this video. Please click on like button, comment and share. Thank you.